Hello, everybody out there. My name is Oliver G. This is the Earful Tower podcast, a show where I like to introduce you to the kind of people who make the city of lights shine. That's right, Paris. Paris is the subject. Today, I'm taking you, well, surprise, surprise, I'm in the 12th arrondissement again. I wonder why. 3 episodes in a row. I'm going to take you into an old market called the marché Beauvau. If you've not heard about it, I'm surprised, because it's the oldest market, the oldest still running indoor market in all of Paris. It dates back to the 1770s. In fact, you'll hear halfway through this episode, a butcher walks up to us and sort of discreetly tries to give us some facts on how old this market really is. It's part of the marché d'Aligre, which you may have heard of, which is sort of more fruits and vegetable outdoor market, even some antiques, flea market style. But today we're focusing on the interior bit. And today's guest is Joseph Loughney, an Irishman who runs the Early Bird Cafe, which is in a glass building on the inside. They roast their own beans, they do food, they sell marmalade, honey, coffee, they sell all kinds of things. Go and check it out. Say hello from me. And this is one of those on-the-go episodes. We're walking around the market. You'll see this Joseph guy is a bit of a celebrity. Everyone's saying hello to him. He tells us the story of how he got the place, what it's like to be kind of on the board of this marketplace, and he even gives us some tips about how to buy things in markets. So a big shout out to the Patreon members who make this show happen. Patreon.com/The Earful Tower. I'll be back at the end of the episode to explain a little bit about how you members out there will be getting a free CD with the music of this man, Press Maxon, who will lead us into this episode. Enjoy. Joseph Loughney.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good to see you, Oliver.
I think what we're going to do is a walk and talk episode.
Yep.
Because there's so much to see here. There's so much happening.
Salut, Christian.
Just as I thought, people are going to be stopping and saying hello because you're a VIP here. So they see you as a VIP.
I wouldn't go that far.
But you're the president. And what's the story here?
Yeah, like I'm a representative of the commission. So there's a commission with who sort of run the market, and I'm we have an election, and so I'm president of that commission. So I'm like responsible for all the problems. People come to me if there's any sort of issues.
I think we need to stop for 2 reasons here.
Yes.
Firstly, we stopped because we're right in front of your cafe.
Yeah.
But secondly, how does an Irishman get to be the president of the oldest market in Paris?
That's a good question.
Maybe it's Parisians and French
maybe it's a double-edged sword or the poison chalice. I'm not too sure.
You think no one wanted it?
Well, maybe, yeah.
Okay. So now that we're standing at the front of your cafe, I know there's an interesting story, not just about the cafe and how it was built, but also the building that we're in. Let's talk about both of them quickly before we walk on.
Yeah.
You've gone for the glass, like the greenhouse.
Yeah, we've gone for the glass seating in there. So it's sort of to put the charpente, the wooden structure that the roof is built on, to put a bit of valor on that so you can sort of see it. So it's the technique is the charpentiers.
We'll get to that in a sec, though. Okay. I want to talk to because I remember there's a green florist here before.
Florist,
right?
Yeah.
So I thought that this glass, because yours is the only glass ceiling here, right?
That's right.
And I thought that was to do with the light for the flowers or something, but it's not. You built it.
We built it. Yeah, in Sarcelles, just because it puts a bit more light into the shop, and we thought it looked good.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. There's a beautiful wooden structure you can see through the glass, and I think it's pretty nice.
I like it too. It's really cool. You know what I like about the cafe too is just being in there now. I was just saying, it reminds me a lot of these other modern cafes that I've featured on the show before. You guys are roasting your own beans. You're making like flat white coffee, which isn't everywhere in Paris.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just in there standing while you were talking to some other people from the market, some customers. At the same time, it felt like one of these old cafes, where it seems like everybody's name.
That's
and
right,
there are a lot of French people coming in.
Yeah.
It felt to me almost like we were in Aix-en-Provence or something, and some little, market down there. How does that work? How did you capture that vibe?
I suppose the market has its own sort of soul to it. I mean, it's a really old school market. A lot of the sellers here have been here for a long, long time. I mean, as we were talking to the butcher there, he was saying he was his first day of work here was 9 days before my birth. So, I mean, that's 37 years. He's been chopping up carcasses down there. So yeah, no, it's got a really old French vibe to it. Like, it is a really village atmosphere. Fantastic outdoor market. You got all the different prices, fruit and vegetables, brocante, antiques. 6 days out of 7, so it's got a really, really important presence, I suppose, in the area.
What do you think about, and I want to get back to that, the ceiling here before I forget it, but first, what do you think? There's certainly going to be people around the world listening to this who might be a little bit intimidated by the idea of a very French market in central Paris. Do you get tourists here? And follow-up question, do you have any tips for them to feel comfortable in a foreign environment like this?
Yeah, we do get quite a few tourists. Now, the difference with this market would probably not be... It'd be much more authentic in terms of that we get a lot more chefs and people who cook at home, and so that preserves in a certain way the sort of authenticity of it, because hasn't turned into a food court like some of the other markets. So it's really old school. People come and get their shopping for the week, and they're all cooking their own stuff for themselves. So it's a fantastic place just to come and have a bit of a stroll around. Anybody looking to visit Marché Beauvau. It's a really nice place to just stroll around, have a look at the antique market, have a look at the fruit and veg market outside, take a few photos. And if you're staying in an Airbnb or in an apartment or something, pick up a few bits and bobs and give the kitchen a bit of a go.
Do you think it's worth coming here if you're staying on the other side of town?
Oh, big time, yeah. I mean, it's the only market that's got an outdoor market 6 days a week and an indoor market 6 days a week, and the brocante 6 days a week. It's the only market in Paris that does that.
And which is the closed day?
Monday is the closed day, yeah.
It's typical in France for lots of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know how it happened, but it's very quiet around here on a Monday. The market's closed, and it's sort of like a Sunday. It feels like a Sunday. Nothing's open, but it's just sort of a tradition. I'm not sure where it comes from.
Let's walk. Which way do you propose that we walk? Past the cheese or past the butcher there?
Probably go to the fountain and just stroll that way.
So as we're walking to the fountain, I'm going to bring up what we touched on. This fantastic ceiling, which people can see from inside your cafe, but obviously you can see from everywhere as well. The story's kind of interesting. I was researching, I think 1843 is the year. So for the facts, 1843 is the year they built this, and 1770-something is when the market's been around.
Exactly,
making it the oldest still-running market in Paris, I think.
That's exactly right, yeah. It was originally horses' stables by a countess. I'm not really an expert on the history of it, but it was originally stables for horses that were... Bonjour, ça va? That were given to the city, providing that it would, on the one condition that it stayed in food market, marché alimentaire.
Okay, so they stopped it from being stables. They gave it to the town hall. They said, you better keep this a food market or you're not getting it.
That's it, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So since then it's been operating as a fruit and veg market on the outside.
And when you look up at it, what's unusual, it kind of reminds me of it sounds weird to say it looks like a church, but sometimes when you look up inside of like Notre Dame or something, those big beams up near the ceiling, on this inverted hull is the right choice.
Exactly right, yeah. An inverted hull, that's the technique, the charpentier's technique. So the charpentier is like the guys who build the ceilings, or so it's the upside down hull of a boat. Yeah.
And when you were talking to your colleagues, the butcher and the baker, and was it the candlestick maker that were in there before? And I was trying to understand in French, like they were saying it's in the style of a boat, and I was like, was it? I was like, was it a boat at some point? And they were saying they brought it down along the Seine. I was trying to figure out, but I don't think it ever actually was a boat. They just built it in that style.
Exactly, yeah. It's a technique, charpentier's technique. So there's actually two. It's a really interesting structure. It survived numerous fires, which are actually pretty devastating, but it's still hanging in there. And the fires were actually quite recent. It was only in the last 20 years. There was two fires, and it's stood the test of time. But there's 2 points that architecturally are supposed to be pretty amazing. There's like a point down there and another point We're actually just below it
Oh,
here.
yeah, I see it. Okay.
Where it's suspended, the three angles like suspend the weight, so it's not there's no support there.
I see.
That's a really difficult thing to do. Apparently,
That's a really difficult thing to describe to everyone driving
Exactly,
in
yeah,
their cars
it's
around the world. But if we give it an effort, it's kind of like all the beams point to this middle, almost
Exactly.
like a pendulum hanging down there made of wood, like a fixed pendulum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
And it
that's
sort of cancels itself out in terms of the weight of the roof.
Right. They knew what they were doing in the 1840s.
Yeah, we can't really do it like that anymore, huh?
And we walked up to this old fountain, which I assume is as old as the market itself.
Yeah.
This doesn't still run, does it? Or
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we use the water out of that just to, they attach a big hose and clean down the whole market on a couple of times a week. Apparently, it was originally outside for the horses that they used to get the water for the horses, and they brought it inside. Now, I can't confirm that, but that's what I've been told.
this is kind of like when I've lived in Paris for a long time. I've never really taken the time to explore this place. I feel like it's deserving of being way more well known among the people. Like the tourists who come here. But I have a feeling like looking around today, seems very local kind of customers here.
Yeah, there is. It's like 90% is local customers. I mean, coming back to the point, it's not a food court, so it doesn't have that sort of pull factor for people come in and sit down and eat the food, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it preserves its sort of uniqueness, but it's a bad thing is that it doesn't get everybody, coming into Charles de Gaulle Airport visiting us. But it's got a nice balance.
How would you feel if Emily in Paris came and had a coffee in your shop for one of the episodes?
I probably wouldn't mind, yeah, as long as they shared the wealth, I suppose. But they actually did shoot here twice.
Did they?
Yeah, they shot here last year and the previous year. So they're actually this market is actually in Emily in Paris, 2 of the series. I haven't seen it myself, but it's definitely in there in 2 of the series, yeah.
Okay, and how about, let's go back to your place for a little bit. How did you, what made you want to put a coffee shop in here?
Well, I was in Australia, working in coffee.
Whereabouts in Australia?
I was in Melbourne and Sydney, so yeah, we were living out there. We started out in Melbourne and then moved up to Sydney. We lived in Torquay, Geelong, obviously St Kilda, a lot of Irish people out there, and worked our way up to Sydney. I've got some family there, and sort of looking for an idea to bring back to Paris, and sort of got into the coffee. Started working as a barista, and then I was doing some roasting. Saludo. So
everybody here.
Yeah, we've got a nice local vibe. It's like a village.
Yeah.
And so then I was thinking, there's not too many sort of coffee places in Paris. So then when we came back, we had the idea. I found actually the shop on the internet. It was a flower shop. We didn't have much money, so that's sort of how the idea started. Just sort of started bubbling like that, and then little by little we sort of jumped through a few hoops, and
I can
here we
imagine
are.
there were some administrative hoops to opening in an old market like this.
Yeah, there were some
Especially
administrative hoops.
Yeah.
All right, there's a few different commissions you have to get past. Security commissions. There's all the other sellers have a vote to accept you into the market. So you have to pass in front of the commission for the market. You have to have a unanimous decision that they'll accept you. So that provides, that protects the market from like fast food chains or anything like that. So it protects the uniqueness. I mean, it's hard to get in, but once you're in, then you're sort of in the loop.
Well, now that you're in the loop and you're sort of a little in charge of deciding who gets in here, or you've got a voice at least, right?
Yeah, I've got a voice. Yeah.
So have you turned down people that have been trying to get in since?
No, because there's 18 sellers in here, and everything is they're all we're all fully. There's no empty shops, if you like.
I see.
So there's some people. That's the negotiation afterwards directly with the seller. Somebody wants to come in has to buy obviously their spot out. But no, we haven't refused anybody since my tenure, I suppose.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
This reminds me a little bit about, I've featured this in recent episodes of the podcast, the Viaduc des Arts.
Yes.
It's a kind of similar vibe in the fact that it's like a little tricky to get a place. It's a little bit of a sort of cultural heritage site.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's kind of seems fiercely protected by the
city, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. They really want to protect. There's a certain quota of butchers that have to be here. There's a certain quota cheesemongers. You know, you have to get, if you try and move in, you have to get first of all the signature of all the sellers. Then you have to get the signature from the city. You know, so it's a long sort of period to sort of jump through. You have to really want it.
Yeah.
And for example, we couldn't replace a butcher with, you know, a shoemaker or something, because the city would insist that there has to be 3 butchers.
Wow.
And it keeps everybody honest. You know, the fact that there's a little bit of competition. You know, there's 2 fishmongers, there's 3 butchers, there's 2 fruit and veg
There's a couple of
sellers.
cheese as well, I noticed.
There's
Quite
2
close
cheese
to each
places.
other, yeah.
There's 2 fruit and veg shops.
Are they kind of competing with each other? Like, are they mates?
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, like, do they hang out afterwards? Are they, hey, I'm out of oranges, can you help me out? Or is it not at all like that?
They probably would help each other out, yeah. But there's a nice sort of blend between sort of competitiveness and sort of friendliness.
Wow.
So, no, it keeps it. We all keep each other honest, I suppose. That's the sort of idea behind it.
Cool.
And, you know, it keeps a lovely sort of offer for customers in terms of, you know, the diverse sort of product you can get here, you know.
I want to talk a little bit about the 12th arrondissement.
Yes.
You know it fairly well.
Fairly well, yeah.
What do I think it's intriguing.
Salut,
I think it might be the most intriguing neighborhood at the moment. Can you talk to the listeners a little bit about what separates this neighborhood, the 12th in general, from all the other neighborhoods of Paris?
Well, it's got a fantastic vibe. I mean, the market is sort of the central soul, or I'm not sure how you describe that, but definitely the central sort of vibe to the 12th is definitely the market, the Viaduc des Arts, Faubourg Saint-Antoine. There was a lot of wood ebonists and wood makers, and probably candlestick makers that you were mentioned earlier on. There's probably a few of them then there as well. So it's obviously, you know, all of Paris is historical, but that would be sort of the soul of this area. Would be the market, wood makers, or what you call it?
Sort of market in what's the word? Craftspeople.
Craftsmen, yeah.
Because that's not typical for lots of other districts.
No.
You know, and it seems to me that the 12th has sort of tried to, or has retained that.
Yeah.
Even
it's preserved it well, yeah.
Yeah, preserved. Does that mean that the kind of people that you get walking around the 12th are different to, you know, residents? Are they different to other parts of town? You've been in Paris for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice vibe of sort of a local feel to it. Populaire, as the French say, it's populaire. You know, it's a really good mix, a cosmopolitan mix.
Is that what they mean by popular? What does that mean?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that means.
It doesn't mean popular, though, right?
No, it doesn't mean popular, but it's like it means that it's sort of a nice mix of people from different sort of social backgrounds. I'll put it like that.
Right.
So you've got everybody mixing from different sort of areas, from different origins. You know, we've got French, we've got, you know, North Africans, we've got Africans, we've got, you know, obviously a few Irish, probably not too many, but still a few. So no, it's got a fantastic, and probably that's due to, in terms of the market, it's definitely due to the fact that you can get a really good deal at the outside market. You know, you can come away with 2 big bags of fruit and veg. That'll do you the week, you know. Or you can come into the inside market. The product might be a bit more noble, a little bit more expensive. So you do get people that are from the bourgeois sort of background that would come into the inside market. You know, we have ex-presidents that come down here to do their shopping, and they don't really get bothered. And then we've got, you know...
Hang on, you got to name some names.
Salut.
We've
got the butcher back here with us again, and he's showing us 1779 is what the originally. Yeah, he's just showing us there.
Vous pouvez parler aussi, monsieur. Vous
Oui,
pouvez parler.
on ne peut pas vous interrompre.
Mais non, alors c'était quoi
C'était ça, donc en 1818, donc le nouveau marché est construit, il est construit en 1779.
1779, yeah.
So c'était quoi? Okay, so what's 1843 then? C'est 1843, c'était quoi?
En activité depuis 1883.
Il a été... Attends, parce qu'ils mettent... L'architecte, c'est l'architecte, le noir, dit le romain, en 1733-1710. C'est chargé de percer 5 rues. Beauvau, rue de Côte, trouvé à Dalig, le noir, sur rue Maine à toute nouvelle place Dalig, sur laquelle un nouveau marché est construit en 1779.
Ok.
Donc, il est
1779.
C'est là qu'il a été fini, je pense.
Thanks for that. Patrick's speciality is little pigs that he roasts on that. Have you seen those? That is really tasty. Anybody who likes pork, he roasts like these suckling pigs, nice crispy sort of skin, and he can actually walk. He'll chop a bit up for you, and you can walk around the market and sort of taste that.
I think that's one of the things. I think it's the first time that someone's come up and secretly shown me notes during an episode of the Earful Tower. I love it. So 1779. That's when the Europeans came to Australia for the first time, to put things into context.
Oh, yeah.
This is an old market.
This is very, very old, yeah.
Can we talk about this? Now we're standing at the edge here on, I guess, is the eastern end of the market, where out to just out the door, there's hundreds of people buying fruit and vegetables. Now, personally, especially when I moved to Paris, I was always a bit scared by these fruit and veg markets because I didn't really know how it worked. I kind of felt like I was always getting ripped off.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'd buy like the strawberries out of season or something, and then I'd be like, what, 20 euros for strawberries? Something's gone wrong. Do you, as a long-time resident of Paris, have any tips for people who are walking into a big market like this where, I mean, just from where we're standing, I can see 20 different dudes selling lettuce. Like, how do you know, what do you do?
Yeah, generally, I'd say for a good tip is don't get too much. I mean, if you're come as often as you can, just get as much that you need. So that, every time you come back then, you're seeing the product sort of turn over. Always look for what's in season, obviously. That's really, really important. And, don't be afraid to sort of interact with the guys that are selling, haggle with them if is what a lot of people might do. Just a little bit. You wouldn't be there for 20 minutes haggling, but, a little bit of haggling is fine.
What do you mean? So
ask them what's fresh.
On the total bill? So when they're like, that'll be 23 euros, you're like, let's say 20. That kind of haggling?
Yeah, I mean, ask them before, like, you get the bill. I mean, before you sort of make the decision to buy it, you can go, I'll take a pound or a kilo of that. For how much is a kilo of that? Maybe 10 euros. Maybe you can just go, I'll give you 8 or 9, or, I'll probably get hung now for saying this, but or you can also propose 11 if you want to leave a tip,
Okay, let's round things up back on coffee shop.
Yes.
Imagine people who are listening to this, they're like, I'm going to make a beeline to find Joseph.
Yes.
Early bird.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, well, what do they do when they walk in? What should they order? What makes a coffee shop owner happy? What's the ideal customer?
I suppose somebody comes in, it's a similar sort of dynamic to the fruit and veg, as I just said. We're trying to promote seasonal coffee. A lot of people don't know that coffee moves with the seasons, obviously. So from different parts of the world at different periods of the year, you have different harvests and crops coming in. So we try and put, we're not changing every week because we're importing from much further away. But we do try and keep seasonal coffee as our sort of main dynamic. So I love when people come in and they've tasted our coffee a couple of times and they seem to like it, and they just go, what's good at the moment, and that sort of gives us a bit of space to sort of see what the person likes, first of all, what they really like to drink themselves, and then what I can sort of propose, or maybe propose something a bit different, different levels of acidity or bitterness or whatever, It's about sort of a journey that you take people on, a geographical journey. It's about people, it's about different places, and then obviously the taste of the different coffees. So when people sort of leave, trust you to propose them something a little bit different, that's always a nice big up for the coffee roasters, And
that journey starts with walking to the marché Beauvau, stepping foot into Early Bird Cafe Roastery.
Early Bird Coffee Roasters, yeah.
And saying hello to you, Joseph.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
hope a lot of people do it. And
looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for walking me around the market and teaching me about it.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That was Joseph Loughney, who runs the Early Bird Cafe in the marché Beauvau. Go and say hello from me. Enjoy your coffee. That's exactly what I would do and what I have been doing. So enjoy that coffee. Enjoy the market. I hope you guys like it. As for the music that you heard at the start of this episode and that you'll hear at the end, that's from Press Maxon, who, I cannot believe it, has been doing the music for this show for exactly 1 year. So a big hip hip hooray to Prez for bringing us this music. As a special perk for the Patreon members of this show, I am producing a CD of his music from the Countdown season. So that's 20 songs, the 20 songs that featured in the episodes where we went all around Paris. And each of those songs is tied to the neighborhood in some way. So they're all sort of his interpretations of famous French songs. He plays all the instruments. I wrote a lot about it on the website and on the weekly newsletter this week. That's free if you're a Patreon member. So if you've been sitting there thinking, I got an email the other day actually, from someone who's been listening for 3 years and been meaning for 3 years to sign up as a Patreon member. If that's you, specifically if that's you, but everyone else in that situation, now's a really good time to sign up because you have exactly 1 week to answer the survey with your address, and I'll send you out a CD for free. As I think everyone knows, the Patreon support helps this show go. Without the Patreon members, we wouldn't be here. So merci beaucoup to all you Patreon members. Merci beaucoup to Joseph from Early Bird. And a huge thanks to everyone for listening. I'll be back again next week with another episode. Until then, take it away, Press Maxon. Au revoir.